we're gonna start on our back today for mobility snack. We're not gonna spend a whole lot of time there. Just gonna use it as a moment of kind of reconnection to a little bit more conscious breath cycle. So go ahead and lay down, and if you like your legs stretched out, that's fine, but you could also set things up differently. Butterfly pose, or even just having your knees bent, feet flat. Okay, let's settle in. Connect to your backside here a little bit. Back of the ribs, back of the pelvis. Feeling around the sacral area, even into your lumbar, even if it's lifted slightly away from your mat. About 3 more really slow breaths, and let's aim for 4 counts inhale, 4 to 6 counts exhale. Dropping into any pauses that you feel are natural in that rhythm. A really slow fill and that patient trickling out effect. Soft jaws, softness around your eyes and cheekbones as well. Lips just barely sealed, and the air entering and leaving your nostrils. If you decided on straight legs, we will bend our knees now and set our feet about hip width and begin with the pelvic rocking. Back to that clock visualization, rocking just simply from front to back from 12 to 6. And our first little flow is going to be in 2 parts. We'll use the inhale and the exhale to synchronize our body movement. And the whole way through this sequence, which is, like I said, it's just 2 movements, you're going to try to keep your pelvis in a slight posterior tuck. So let's just land there now. Think of pressing your lumbar spine a little bit closer to your mat. It may not touch all the way, but you are trying to feel for that little curling up effect in the tailbone. And then set your bottom ribs just so that they're not opening and flaring up into like a back bend-like shape. So our inhale phase is going to be hips up for bridge as our arms reach over our head. I like really wide arms for that. And then the exhale, you're going to lower your hips and curl up into a cannonball, your arms reaching past your heels. And this one's going to have just a little bit of a speed to it compared to what we normally do. Inhale to the bridge. Exhale to the cannonball crunch. Find your own speed. Find the bum as the hips raise, and then that front core as we curl and lift through the spine. Trying to find that flexion from the tail all the way through the top of the head. And if you are like me and your exhale is a little longer than the inhale, then that core movement with the flexion is going to be a little longer as well. Let's do about 5 more like this. Last 1 or 2. And then just go ahead and relax back down with your feet on the mat, knees bent, arms can come out to a T shape. We'll try to keep the pelvis landed and neutral. As we reach left arm across, that left shoulder is going to lift off the ground as well, rotating through your upper spine. Back and forth, right reaches left, left reaches right. Let's see if we can keep the hips and the legs and the pelvis stationary and just kind of focus on the upper body mobilization for now. 2 more each side. Last one. And then another little pause. Let your neck rest, head heavy. Fill up your whole container with the inhale, stretching your ribs all the way around that 360 degrees of core. And then I'm just going to set you free for a moment here to find some sort of movement with the hips. Now you could let your pelvis move as well so your feet could stay grounded, or you could float your legs up off the ground and just start to make some rotations and spirals. Some bicycling motions is fine. You could even straighten your legs if you wanted to. But as you move your legs, let's try to minimize movement of the spine and even minimize the neck and the shoulders moving around, and keep it lower body focused. But remember, you can let your pelvis tip. So that could be like lifting one side and rocking a little bit. Just a couple more breaths. And then find that cannonball shape again. Hands can come behind your legs. Lift your head and shoulders off the ground and give yourself a couple of rocks so that you can create some momentum to come up to your seat. And as you get to your seat, pull your left leg towards you, and you're going to pull that right heel in front of your left ankle. And then use your arms if you need to and just push yourself up off of your bum and lean your weight into that right leg. So this right ankle is getting a nice big stretch. Keep your heel down, lean in as much as you want to. A little bit of rocking could feel good here, just teasing that edge. And then we're gonna have a little fun with momentum again. So set your seat back down on your mat. You can keep this leg position if you want to, but you're gonna try to tuck and roll back. Take a few more times rocking and rolling. And then this next time when you come up, you're gonna tuck your right leg in, set your left heel in front of your right ankle, and then rock up off of your seat and lean into your left side. Heel down, ankle in that dorsiflex position, feeling a stretch along the Achilles maybe. And then we're just going to do that a couple more times, creating a little bit of a rolling flow. And you'll just switch back and forth between this leg position. And you don't even have to come all the way up like we have the bum. You can keep your bum down. So you're going to rock back. This time pulling the left leg in, setting the right foot and just kind of reaching. Rolling back, bending the right leg in, stepping the left foot down and reaching. Let's do a few more like that. Left leg bends, tucks, reach. Right leg bends and tucks, reach. 2 more times. Last one. And then we're going to open up to a wider stride with the feet, knees bent, hands can come behind you. Just a sitting version of that spinal movement like cat-cow. Let your shoulders move as much as they want. Think of puffing up your heart forward and upward. And then starting to scoop and hollow out that front side. Rocking the pelvis between 12 and 6. And then letting the shoulder blades play. Okay, let's try a fun transition today. You can do it any way you like. If you want to try it this way first, that's great. Set your hands behind you, and then you can turn your fingers any direction that feel good on your wrists and shoulders. Lift your hips. Reach your left arm across. So lift it up. Step your right foot underneath you and flip over to tabletop. And then you'll have to kind of readjust yourself. Yeah. Tabletop, knees down for cat-cow. Just a few. Do you like the breathing to synchronize with the movement? Otherwise, it's okay just to breathe naturally and find that wave of articulation through the spine. Last two. Last one. And then let's step our left foot straight out to the side. Plant your footprint on the floor so your ankle is in a little bit of a turn. And then you're going to rock your seat back any amount. Rock forward back to that tabletop stack. Float your left leg off the ground and try not to bend your arms. Lower your left foot again. Stretch your seat back towards your heels any amount. Keep going with this little flow. Left leg lifts and hovers. And then scoot back. Last two. Last one. Now keep that left foot firmly rooted. Plant your right hand super strong. Push through your shoulder. Take your left arm out to the side like a wing. As you inhale, open your chest towards your left big toe. And as you exhale, thread your left arm underneath and bend your right elbow, but hover that left arm so you're not going all the way here. Let's do two more like that. I like my right hand set off to the side, so I'm just going to move it out even more. Inhale, open. Exhale, a little twist. Final one with the breath, and then we will hold it. And if your left shoulder and arm want to connect all the way to the ground here, that's totally fine, but that's not a requirement. Rest the left side of your head on your mat and keep as much support in that right arm as you like. So you could really be pushing through your right hand here. Find a regular tabletop position and then stretch your left arm out in front of you like you're going to shake someone's hand. Try to keep your back pretty level. Swim your arm out to the side and then back behind you, turning your thumb side inward and then upward so your arm is rotating inward. Back out to the left and then forward and maybe a little bit across. Let's do this little shoulder circle a couple more times. Reaching back, reaching forward and across. Last one. Awesome. Step your right foot out to the side, foot planted. Rock yourself back a little bit or a lot. As you shift back forward, you'll float the right leg without changing the trunk position. Keep going. Last one. Awesome. Firm up your left arm as your foundational support. Open your chest to the right with your right arm opening. That'll be your inhale. Exhale, right arm reaches under. We can bend that left elbow and turn. Twice more with the flow of the breath. On that third round, we'll find our rotation, that threading the needle pose. Then maybe we connect to the floor. Otherwise, just find some upper body spiraling. One more breath. Reset regular tabletop. Right arm's going to reach out in front of you, thumb up. And then fly it out to the side, turn your arm inward. Reach back to extension. Same direction, out to the side, and then forward and a little bit across to the left. Arm as straight as it'll go. Rotate your shoulder and reach it behind you. Last one. Awesome sauce. Come up onto your shins. You could pat your knees if you think they need it. We'll let our arms just dangle by our sides for now. Shoulder blade elevation and depression. Straight up, sliding and gliding. It feels like a shrug, and then a purposeful unshrug. Last two. Arms out in front of you. Now we're going to retract and protract with straight arms. Hug your shoulder blades together and then set them apart. Now notice the ribs want to play, so just try to keep them steady and isolate your attention into your scapula. Last two. Great. Right foot's going to step forward. Your left knee can scoot back a little bit if you want to. Left hand on the floor or a block if you have it handy. And then we'll find that runner's lunge twist, opening to the right side. A two-part flow here. This is our inhale position. And then as you exhale, take both hands back down, maybe to the fingertips. Work through a straighter front leg, and then just bow your spine over your right leg. Let's do a few of those. Inhale, open it up, bend your knee. Exhale, fold like a long stride pyramid. Twice more. Last one. And then for the intermission between sides, you could either just take a step forward and fold over your legs, or if you wanted to squat, that might be okay too, if your ankles and knees are ready for that, hips too. Find about 3 slow breaths. If you're folding, just let your head hang, let your spine untangle. And then we'll step back with the right foot. So now our left leg's going to be up front in that lunge. Find that open arm twist, inhale. And your exhale, we can work into that left leg as much as we want and fold 3 more times on your breath. Same choices as last time after you finish. A forward position, folding, dangling, or a squat. Yeah, I'm liking that dangly side to side sway in your forward bends. That feels so good. And then you can choose how you want to stand up. You could make it a slow roll up if you're folded, or if you're squatting, you could just power it up and stand. Set your feet about parallel. Hip width or all the way together is fine. We'll take a hold of the back of our head real light, hands interlace, and find some side stretches in the upper body. Pelvis and hips and glutes nice and firm, stationary. So we can mobilize through that upper thoracic. Let's just do a couple more sways each way. And then your transition could be a forward fold, rolling or hinging, or you can squat back down. We're going to go back to the tabletop and revisit cat-cow, except this time we're going to do it laterally. Hands will work off to the right diagonally from the pelvis, still shoulders width. 3 rounds, flexion and extension. Trying to create those little segments so your spine is moving wave-like rather than one big chunk. Last one like this. Back to the center before we do the other side. We're going to rock the hips back like child's pose. Maybe find a little bit of flexion in the upper back. And then shift forward beyond tabletop, almost like you're going to go to up dog, but just lift your heart slightly. Let's do that 3 more times. Rock back, child's pose, tucking, rounding the upper back. And then upward dog-ish. Find a little glute squeeze, lift your sternum. Last couple. Final one like this. And then let's go lateral cat, arms off to the left. Diagonally, right side's a little longer here. And we flow. Challenge you to move your head last and not as much as the rest of your spine, so it doesn't just become a head nod. That is something I see in people who maybe are new to a practice. Since the head already moves really well in the neck, that's usually the default. Last one. And then we'll come back to that shin kneeling position. Stack shoulders over the hips. Lean yourself just a little to the left and step your right foot through. Tuck your back toes under and push the floor away to stand up on this right leg. Your hands are going to press into your left thigh bone as your left thigh tries to kick into your hands. That's going to be our, that's going to be our exhale breath, okay? And then the inhale breath is just going to be kicking our left leg behind us with a bent knee. So think kind of like how we go to dancer, but try not to change your upper body. Okay, and that's going to be your inhale breath. Exhale, pull that leg up into your hands, push down with your hands. Keep flowing, kicking back, and pulling up and in. Notice that natural core response as you drive your knee into your hands. Let's do one more. And then step your left foot back. You're going to set up a pyramid-like stance, feet about hip width, left toes turned out on a diagonal. Hands to your pelvis, let it tip forward. You can come halfway down so that you're level to the horizon and focus on a shoulder reach, either out, back, or forward. Or you can make this a true pyramid fold and let your hands come to the floor to your yoga blocks. About 5 breaths. Bring 2 feet together at the front of your mat, rolling up or hinging up, coming back to standing. Hands behind your head, interlaced grip, side bends in the spine. One more set. And then your transition is to either roll down or hinge down again, coming back to the fold. And then step your right foot back behind you. Bring your body upright. This is just our transitional stance. Our next stop is going to be to stand up on the left leg. Hands are going to come out front and your right leg is going to drive upward into your hands. That's your inhale. And then exhale, kick back from the tush without changing the upper body. Just working this right leg from front to back. You can mix up the breathing. It doesn't have to always be one way. Just notice when you inhale and your spine is moving a certain way or trying not to move in a certain way, how does that impact your ribs in front? Last little kick here. And then we'll reset the feet, hips width. Take the arms overhead, nice long in-breath. And then fold over your legs. You could roll down too if you like that better. Come back to tabletop position and lower onto your forearms. Kick your right leg back behind you, but when you do that, maintain almost like a cat pose in your upper back, so it becomes all about the right glutes. Bend your right knee. Externally rotate your thigh. Your knee's going to point out. Your heel's going to kind of angle in. Now internally rotate your right hip. Let's just do those 2 things a few more times as you work on maintaining a completely level position of those front hip points. So you're just thinking of that little corkscrew action at the hip. Excellent job. Neutralize your hip. Extend your right leg straight back And then pull it out to the right, set your right foot down. We've been here before, but we were on the hands. So please press up to your palms. You're gonna try to float your right leg, take it back, and then tuck your left toes under, push into those left toes, and send your hips high for a down dog splits with your right leg in the air. Bend your right knee. Let your hip find a little slow circle. Reverse it. And come back down to tabletop. Lower your forearms, please. Left leg's gonna kick back, but we're trying to keep the spine in flexion, or at least the effort of flexion. Bend your left knee. Externally rotate your thigh. And then twirl it in. Let's do 3 more or so. And then go ahead and extend your leg into neutral. Open your knee, press back to your palms, and then float your left leg out to the side and set it down. Push to your arms. Tuck your back toes under, lift your leg off the ground, kick it back behind you, downward dog splits, lift the left leg up. Regular downward facing dog. You could also lower to your forearms for a dolphin version. About 5 breaths or so. Really pushing through the arms and shoulders. If you're on your palms, you're trying to drive those base knuckles through the floor. Almost like you're trying to raise your palms up off of your mat. And get lighter where the wrist and the hand connect. Lift your heels. Walk yourself forward to the front of your mat, rolling or hinging up to standing position. Okay, so this one's a little combo for the hip on one side, stability on the other, and also the upper thoracic spine. So stand on the right, hold your left knee, take your right hand behind your head. Now you're gonna try to keep your right elbow straight out from your shoulder rather than pulling it to the front of the room. Here's how this is gonna go. You're gonna open your left leg like a gate, bring it back to the front, and then twist your upper body to the left, back to neutral. Open your left leg, close it, twist over to your left with your upper body. Return. Let's do 2 more like that. Open to the left, forward, twist to the left, forward. Oh, how about 1 more? My right glutes are calling out for a rescue. Little twist, untwist. And then step on 2 feet. Give a little wiggle. Maybe you need to flip those right toes onto the top. And we'll do the other side. Right leg's coming out in front, standing on the left, right hand to the right knee, left hand behind your head, maintain a vertical spine. Open your right hip, and then you're closing it and turning the upper body to the right. Well, that elbow wants to really lead the way, so try to keep it set. 3 more times. Open, close, twist to the right side, neutralize. Last couple. Final one. Okay, I think I missed a pyramid earlier, so we're ready for it here. Let's just step the right leg back. Arrange your feet about as wide as your hips, hands to your hips, and then tip your pelvis over that right leg. Halfway down for a shoulder exploration, or fingertips land on your blocks or the floor, and we just enjoy that fold. 2 more nice long breaths, feeding that back body expansion just as much as the sides and the front. Step both feet to the front of your mat. Widen your stride. Toes can point out as much as you like. We'll pull the hips about halfway down, about as high as our knees. And then curl your fingertips forward. So get your bum as low as you want to, but just keep it above the knees. And then let your shoulder blades pull apart on your back as you find some energy reaching through your fingertips. And now as you start to lower your seat to what you feel like is a good maximal squat, let the chest lift, and then you can take hands together at your heart, perhaps even using your arms to work against your legs slightly. Now if this is going well and it feels great, you can open up into a twist for a little bit of different sensation. If the squat gets to be too heavy, too intense, then we come back to that forward fold. Let's twist the other side if we're twisting. Awesome. Okay, from our squat, we're just going to step the left leg backwards so that we are in kind of a long, wide lunge. Hands towards the inside of your foot here. And you're going to pivot so your back heel is down. Walk your hands to the left a little bit. They might even be, one of them might even be off your yoga mat. And then you're going to work into a bent leg, straight leg from here. It kind of feels like a crooked, asymmetrical lunge to a pyramid. And then I say we just walk through a straddle fold. Heel toe your feet, rearrange yourself. Fold as deeply as you like. You can always stay about halfway up and work some shoulder mobility again. And if you don't mind being turned away from the camera, we can just turn back towards the left now. Left toes turn to the rear of your mat, setting that kind of crooked and wide lunge. Fingertips pulling away from the body, reaching on a diagonal. Working bent leg, straight leg on that left side. Walk through that wide leg straddle again, rearrange your feet. Pivot back towards the front of your mat. Step back to your downward facing dog. Left leg's gonna stretch up and take a little circle. And then let's find a plank today. Roll forward. Think of dragging your hands backwards as your toes try to pull towards your hands. You can hold protraction if you want. You could also retract and protract your shoulder blades for a scap push-up for 5, 4, 3, 2, and knees down. Rock your hips back. Take your hands a little wider. Open your chest to the right. And now thread your right arm underneath your left. You can stay really low in your seat here, or you can rock your hips back up over your knees if you wanted to. So it feels a lot like what we did earlier, but both legs on the ground this time. Option to swim your left arm behind you and internally rotate it. So that means your palm would be facing away from your body. Return back to your palms, hands set a little bit wider. You can drop your hips back, open your chest to the left. And thread it underneath. Adjust until you're satisfied with your position. Hips back or hips up. Just a little bit different experience between the two. And then you're going to take that internally rotated position of your right arm, if you like that, behind you. Palm turns out. Drawing your right shoulder down and inward. And then we're going to retreat back to either a kneeling pose, sitting back on your heels or on your yoga blocks, or you could come up to this tall kneeling position if that's better for your knees and ankles. Wrap your arms fairly tightly around your front side so your shoulders stay nice and snug. And then you're going to make some little spirals in your upper body. So it's just a combination of front to back movement, twisting, and that side stretching. Reverse the direction. Almost feels like you're trying to hula hoop with the ribs. Last couple. And then please find your seat. Let's take legs out in front here. Hands are going to go behind. You're going to let the legs windshield wiper. And if it feels okay to let your pelvis twist a little bit too, that's great. Okay, we're going to come back to the reverse tabletop that we did earlier. So last time we just used this as a transition. This time we're going to use it as a little upper body mobilization and a back body boost for power. So if you ever feel like this is just too much, you're going to sit back on your seat and find the rockers in your legs. Otherwise, drive your hips up, reach your right arm across towards your left fingers, and then return. Tabletop reversed. You can lower your seat at any time. Lift your left arm, reach it across towards your right fingertips. Let's just do one or two more. Each direction. Be in control. There's no need to rush. Last set. Next up on our seat, and we're going to find the butterfly. Feet together, soles of the feet together, knees wide. And you can snuggle your heels in a little bit more. Hold the front side of your shin or ankle. And then you're going to use your arms to work your legs out into abduction. You could hinge your body forward a little ways, but I think the more important thing here today maybe is to just use the resistance between arms and legs to find your inner thigh muscles. So your arms are trying to drop into your legs towards the floor, but your legs are gently pressing back into your arms. Snuggle your shoulder blades down towards your back pocket side. Lengthen your neck. Just low level pressure. Arms into legs, legs into arms. And then we're going to take this into a more yin-like stretch. So we're going to pull the heels away from us, but keep that diagonal shape in the legs, like a diamond. Tip your pelvis forward. Snuggle your ribs towards the inner side of your thighs. And then just allow your spine to softly round. And we're just breathing. 4 to 6 counts in, at least that long or longer on your exhale. Okay, so we're already a little bit in a flexed position. We're going to use this shape to roll down in, but let's just come back up to seated first. You can neutralize for a moment if that feels good, and then stretch your legs out on your mat. Initiate your roll down from your pelvic tuck, and then come back to that rounding, flexing spine. So that piece by piece, from the bottom to the top, your back seals back to the floor. And then once you land, let's go right knee in towards your rib cage, maybe even a little bit towards your armpit. Rotate your right ankle. Take that right leg across to any amount for a really gentle spiral twisting. Reverse out, switch the legs. Simple ankle circle with the hip flexed. And then we go to that little crossover. Left shoulder stays heavy and connected. Bring that left knee across. But we're looking for the stretch near the rib cage. And I actually like to kind of squeeze my right bum. So my extended leg is just a little bit more supportive in this twist. One more breath. And then roll on back, set your feet, bend your knees. A couple more flowing bridges with the crunch, just like we did in the beginning. As you inhale, arms go overhead and we raise the hips. As we exhale, we curl up into a little ball. Try to bring your forehead and your knees close, and your arms can reach beyond your thighs. Two more times. Last one. Now, if you need just a few moments of stillness today and you'd like to take that on your back, just find that comfy position. But if you're inclined to sit in a meditative pose, either to kneeling or a cross-legged seat, you could do that now too. Let your breath be more natural, but still be curious about it. Unforced, unrushed, just letting it flow. Start to bring awareness to any areas of you that are touching the earth. Just hold your attention there. Pelvis, feet, areas of your spine or shoulders, even the back of your head. Feel yourself surrender there as you exhale, a little heavier, even more effortless. Your inhales infuse some space into any exposed areas, any areas that aren't touching the ground. Fill up and then clear it all out again. A reliable flow of that breath energy, holding your focus for a few more rounds. And if you're still on your back, you can organize your movements in any way that feels appropriate for today. If you're in your seat, you might like to fold forward or curl back or take some twists or side bends. That's all I have for you, everyone. Have a great rest of your day, no matter what time it is or when you're watching this. Thanks for being here for those of you that were live. Maybe I'll see you tomorrow night.